Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's all about the instant change method today, and that is making big differences in a lot of people's lives. Now, you've heard of hypnotherapy, you've heard of maybe Reiki, you've heard of maybe chakras, and all these different energy healing modalities. This is all of that, or a lot of that, all put together in one, called the instant change method. And Michael Danielson is the guy behind it. He's with us again today. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing, Steve?
Doing quite well. I want to start with a question that we had. And you know what? Before we even get into that, for anybody that didn't hear us in previous podcasts, what the instant change method is, why don't we just tell everybody real quick?
Sure. The instant change method is a new method, but it does combine a lot of old methods, quantum physics, neuroscience, hypnosis, but it's them all combined, and it's very powerful. I call it transformation. Instant change transformation, because we don't want to really develop. We say that's just a catch term. Like, it's nothing to do with coaching development. It's transformation, because the subconscious mind thinks in right now. Everything is happening now, so the instant change happens right now. You combine the information with energy, and it works throughout your entire being. And when I say entire being, that's your energy body, your mind, and your body down to the individual cells. So it's a complete transformation of your entire being. So that's why it's the instant change.
And what we talked about last time is it's a lot of it is purging out the negative information that's in your subconscious mind and putting in positive information. And no, we're not, it's not a cult. We're not doing anything like that. You're in full control when you go through the instant change method. Question from Bethany, who checks in from Malvern, New York. And she says, I heard you talking about the instant change method, and I've been researching it. You did talk about spirituality and God. I don't believe in a God. Can I still be part of the instant change method?
You can, because the belief in all the components of the method are not the most important thing. It's your desire. You have to have that burning desire and to know what you want. So instead of saying God, you could actually, I do incorporate some things I would say like Mother Earth and universe, and you can make that whatever it means to you. You have your own personal, however it relates to you, and that's fine. So you don't actually have to believe in that per se, but you have to believe that this will work. That's the information will get in there and the energy, but the method works. So no, you don't have to have that.
And to your point, Michael, and by the way, the website, well, let's tell everybody what your website is now if they're listening and want to Google and find out a little bit more.
Sure. It's icmrightnow.com, ICMRIGHT now.com.
And ICM standing for, of course, the instant change method.
Yes.
So even if you wanted to get hypnotized, and there's so many great hypnotists out there that can give you hypnotherapy, stop you from smoking, stop you from your weight situation, your eating habits. There's a lot, anxiety, all of that. But to your point, you have to want the change. You have to really want it. You can't just say, all right, yeah, I'd like to stop smoking, do whatever you can do, whatever. No, it's got to be from within, and you have to have that passion for it.
Sure, and it has to be coming from you. It can't be from somebody else. It can't be because, say, your doctor says you need to lose weight or your partner. It has to come from you. Yep. It has to be internal. It can't be external.
So let's talk about some of the other methods that people try to make changes in their lives and, either reprogram themselves or rewire themselves that don't work. What are some of those?
Sure. And I hope I don't offend anybody, but I was going to be honest with this. For most things, psychology, because what happens with psychology, you're working with the mind and you're working on the things that happened in the past. You're bringing that up. So what you're doing by bringing that up is a continuation. You're actually bringing that forward too, is bringing it back into your mind. So when you go relive that and keep talking about the past, you're talking about the problem. You're not talking about the solution. You have to get to the solution, and you want the result of the solution. So what help is that to you to bring up the old traumas and talk about those things? And a funny story is Sigmund Freud, one of the originators of psychotherapy, talk therapy, he actually tried to become a hypnotist, and he actually failed at the school. So that's why he actually developed his method. A lot of people don't know that, but that's 100% fact. So
Why did he fail?
he couldn't hypnotize people. He just
Huh.
could not do it. I don't know if it was something inside of himself. He didn't have the confidence within himself. So you would talk around the problem with psychotherapy, talk therapy, instead of getting directly to it. See, that's, well, actually, I transitioned to hypnotherapy. I mean, hypnotherapy is very good, but also has some limitations as well. But hypnotherapy goes directly to your subconscious mind. If you're working just in the conscious mind and talking about what it knows, it's very limited. It can process like 40 bits, basically information per second, but the subconscious is 40 million. Subconscious is what rules your life. So that's what he suffered with. He couldn't really hypnotize people.
Interesting.
Why? I don't know.
Yeah, I might Google that sometime. I'm kind of curious for a guy like that. But, when we talk about a therapist, and it's very beneficial to talk about something and talk things out. I see what your point is, because you're just rehashing the past. Even every session you go to, you're talking about what's happening now or what has happened. And it could have been, hey, yesterday this happened. I want to talk about it in your situation. Or it could be years ago, but you're just rehashing the past. You're not moving really forward like you really need to be. And you're in your conscious mind.
Sure. And actually, how you get results is your thoughts, your feelings, and actions always get your results. And of course, if you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about what happened, and it's going to bring up those feelings. Of course, you're going to act on them, and you're going to get the same result.
Interesting. What are some of the other things that people seek out that aren't going to give you the results like the instant change method?
Sure. Just by itself, energy work, which energy work is fantastic for certain things, but it's limited because it's only working in, it's basically, it's not transforming your entire being. It's just sending energy through your body, which you can do yourself because you're connected to universal energy. So, but that's limited because it goes through your body and then it's done. It's not actually transforming your entire system like the instant change method does. And I've actually had clients that said to me, like, the instant change method, feel like, like I'm like getting a change, like it's like here you're drinking the water, it's happening. You're going to go through it. But energy work, you might feel a wave of energy, you might not feel anything, but it's just temporary. It's not transforming your entire being like the instant change method.
Interesting. And when you talk about some of the energy healing, are you talking about things like Reiki, chakra balancing?
Sure.
Is that it?
Yes, because what they're focusing on is a state. And people say, I want to get in this great state, but states are temporary. States come and go. So yes, you might be feeling great today. You got your energy work. I'm feeling on top. But tomorrow, I'm back to what I was. The energy dissipated. It's gone. So that's where it becomes an issue. People's looking for these states, like higher states of consciousness and all that, which is wonderful, but it's a state. It's temporary.
And for you, and we talked about what got you down this road in the instant change method. You had challenges and did it, and it made such a profound difference in your life that you became a somebody who is a therapist within the instant change method.
Sure. Yes, I've tried many things and a lot of roads, and I'm very frustrated. I've tried hypnotherapy, which did help. Like I said, it reduced me from about 90 to 40, which is great. But someone like me, my mind's very active, which I'm sure a lot of people are. In the modern society, everything's becoming so quick, and we're getting like addicted to our screens, so everything's getting faster and faster. And I would try different programs, things like that, coaching, but it was always not direct, and it's always kind of not getting to the root. You're working on the branches. So to actually have change stick, you actually have to work on the root. Because yeah, you can work on this branch, but well, okay, that's done. What about this branch over here? This one here. You can go on that for infinitum. You're never going to get to the bottom of it. You got to get to that root. And the instant change methods, the only one I found it actually, I could feel it, and it actually did. It was like I got to the root. So that's why I was so impressed with that.
Wow. And when you say the root, are we talking about your subconscious?
Subconscious, but also your body, your actually individual cells. Your individual cells are programmed as well. I know that might sound crazy to some people, but it is true, because that's the only way that your eye cell knows it's an eye cell, and your nose cell knows it's a nose cell. So you actually, that has cellular intelligence as well. So that's why a lot of times what you have to get into is coherence. You want your mind, your heart, and your stomach to be in coherence. And that's where a lot of people have issues with. That's why people are stressed. They get IBS, things like that, because they're not communicating. Like not they don't consciously, but subconsciously there's a
Right.
disconnect.
Well, I learned a number of years ago that, this is connected to your stomach,
Mm.
and there's a direct correlation. And I never, yeah, okay, emotions, you get stressed out or whatever. Of course, this is going to cause, some issues in your stomach, but never knew how closely they're connected. So yeah, to your point, all of this has to be in sync, for anything to really truly transform you. Uh, you talk about programs, Michael, with the instant change method. When you say programs, what do you mean?
I mean, they're words, but they have power behind them. What the instant change method is an amplifier of the universal energy. It flushes out blockages throughout your entire system. So when I say programs, I would say something like self-love or let's see, self-awareness, but there's actually behind that program, behind them words, is power. They actually have a energetic component behind them. So, and then I would actually add certain language into that, obviously, specific to the person. But I say a program, that's basically adding in the words, but make it specific to the person. And behind that has that energy. Because what happens is when people want to change is you have to have that emotional drive or that emotional component. For example, I hate to bring up something negative here, but think about 9/11.
Hmm.
That was a very emotionally charged event. And I
Sure.
guarantee you, anybody that lives in the U.S. can remember exactly where they were when that happened. Or say you have your first child, you remember all of that. And that can drive change instantaneously. So the instant change method actually works with the emotion like that. And so you actually will remember that. The way I like to say it is basically an instant change session is like adding 400,000 affirmations at one time. That's how powerful it is, and you remember that. Case in my personal life is that I used to be a smoker, and I quit about 14 years ago. I didn't, not hypnosis, anything like that, but I woke up and I couldn't breathe, and just that fear, just that emotion stopped me. I never smoked again.
Wow.
So just having that emotional drive, because anybody can think of that. You've had one emotional instant in your life. When that happened, you changed, and there was no willpower, no nothing. It just happened.
Wow. Yeah. And your point is the instant change method, the way the information is being put into your mind and your body can make that change happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you give us an example of how a session might go? We can't do it here. Everybody's different. Every situation is different, but just some of the way. And again, we didn't say this, but the instant change method is right 20-minute sessions, three of them over pretty much 3 consecutive days, skip a day. So call it 4 days. Do I have that right?
Yeah, that is correct. The first, second, and fourth date is correct. And you need a gap to let that marinate in your system. So, yes, that's how that works. And yeah, and pretty much every session is the same. You go through the same processors and tweaking, add some different information that people want to put in there. But it actually reinforces that change in your system. It's, like I said, a 60% integration the first day, then 80% on the second day, and on the fourth day, it's 100%. And like we talked about before, when a session is done, it's not done. The process keeps working. It keeps integrating through your entire being. So yes, what I'd like to, I don't know if you feel comfortable. We could actually go through a session. We don't have to get specific, obviously, on what you're working with, but I can just actually go through a general session with you if you would be comfortable with that, Steve.
Sure. And let's take a look. We have, can we do just a spice of it? We got like about 10 minutes left.
Okay. Yes, I guess I would cut off some things. Obviously, I won't get into some things there, but do you have the ability to stand up, Steve?
I do.
Okay.
Is that what I guess we have to change the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can do this, like that. Does that work?
That works.
All right. I am.
And do you have something behind you, like a chair, something that can support you?
Yes.
Okay, the reason I ask that, because sometimes the instant change is so powerful, but since we're being not very specific, it might not have that effect. But
Right.
sometimes it can actually, you can feel the actual heat and energy from it. So,
And this is just, by the way, for everybody, this is just an example. We're just kind of scraping the surface here because, limited time and, we're not going into a lot of detail.
sure. So, like what I'd like you to do, Steve, if you could, if you go ahead and close your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like you to take in 3 deep, full breaths at your own pace. Would you breathe all the way through your stomach? Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Good. Now, Steve, I'd like you to imagine coming out the soles of your feet, powerful roots shooting down like lasers down into Mother Earth, grounding you. And I'd like you to imagine above your head a powerful beam of white light shooting up through the crown of your head, connecting you to universe, source, all that is. And I'd like you to imagine above your head a giant ball of light and energy. This ball of light and energy is so large it can encompass your whole being, your energy body, and your body down to the individual cells. This ball of light can be any color you choose. It can be violet, gold, silver, a healing color specific to you. You can imagine, visualize, or think about this ball of light. And into this ball of light and energy, we are going to add the program of self-love, self-awareness, confidence, gratitude. You are grateful for all that is, for all that you've been given. And we're going to add in positive endings, knowing that everything that you do will lead to a positive ending for all involved. And you see the positive intention in everybody that you meet and yourself. Now, Steve, I'd like you to imagine that ball of light and energy now is ending down into your energy body, entering down to the crown of your head, down into your brain, synchronizing the left and right hemispheres, being massaged in through your brain, the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, the prefrontal cortex. This powerful information and energy now is moving down to your eyes, down to your nose, down to your jaw. Now it's moving back up over the top of your head, down the back of your head, down into your shoulders, left and right shoulders. This powerful information and energy now is moving down into your heart. Your heart, your second brain is opening up. You are opening up to your power, connecting to I am, to your self-love, self-worth, synchronizing. Everything in your being is harmonizing. Now this information energy is moving down from your heart, down into your stomach, your third brain. This powerful information, the self-worth, the self-love is being massaged into your stomach, synchronizing your stomach, your heart, and your mind, your brain. Now this information and energy now is moving up throughout your body. Now it's going down into your arms, upper arms, lower arms, down through your hands, out through your fingertips. Now this powerful information energy now is moving back up to your arms, lower arms, upper arms, down through your chest, down into your stomach. It's being massaged down into your hips, into your buttocks, into your upper legs, down to your knees. This instant change is happening throughout your entire being. It's being massaged down to your lower legs, down to your feet, out through your toes. Now this powerful information and energy, the instant change, is moving back up through your being, down through your feet, all the way up to the crown of your head, being massaged throughout your entire being, down to the individual cells. This instant change is happening now. This transformation is occurring throughout your entire being. In the coming minutes, hours, weeks, months, and years, this transformation will keep going out through your entire being. This is who you are. Anytime you see the colors black, white, green, yellow, orange, blue, anytime you see the colors black, white, orange, yellow, blue, green, any time you see the colors black, white, orange, green, blue, black, you will remember this transformation. This is who you are. Now let this information energy move throughout your entire being. Steve, do you notice any blockages throughout your entire being? Any areas where there feels like there's stuckness?
I'd have to think about that a little bit more. How would you define a blockage?
If you feel like the energy is not flowing, if there's any tightness.
I don't really, maybe in the stomach area, I might feel I'm not getting total flow, but I'm not sure.
Okay. This can change now. This can change. This will change. This has changed. This will change. This can change. This will change now. I want you to imagine that I have a powerful magnet and I am just sucking out that stuckness, any energy, just sucking it out, pulling it out. A powerful magnet, just pulling it out. Do you notice a shift now, Steve?
I actually do.
Wonderful. Now, this instant change energy and information is working out through your entire being. When you're done, and when you know you're done for now, you've done enough, I want you to go ahead and open your eyes and come back.
Wow. So let me just shift the camera here. For anybody that not experiencing that, it's like hypnotherapy. I've done hypnotherapy before, so that it kind of reminds me of that, but with much more power. And I see where you said have a chair in back of you, because I found myself just kind of chilling, and you want to have something there in case you just relax a little too much. Why do you need to stand?
Because it lets the actual energy flow. Because the important thing is to have the energy flow through universal energy. And say you're sitting down, there's you have crimpages there. You don't let the energy flow. So when you stand up, it lets the entire energy flow through your system. That's one of the most important components of it. So that's why you stand up.
Gotcha. And what's interesting is with this, well, let me ask you this question. We have a couple of minutes. I'm curious. If this were a typical session, would I tell you what I wanted to work on, and you wouldn't necessarily go back in my past to find that, to fix it, correct?
Correct. I would actually just, as I said, we would go over those 3 to 5 sentences. We'd have that information. How I said a ball of light above your head. I'd actually put that energy in there. I just had a little bit of programs because we didn't actually go that part of it. But that's actually, when that goes integrates through your entire being, it actually is way more powerful when you have that, because that information has an emotional meaning to you. It's something you desire. So when you have that in there with that instant change amplifier, that makes it so much more powerful. That's actually one of the most specific things. It has to. You have to have that. It can't be general for it to actually work the way you want it to.
And we were just giving an example, but what's interesting is it reminds me of hypnosis, which I had done 4 weeks ago, whatever it might be. But we were going back to my childhood. I was reliving that again.
No.
And then to your point, you're just rehashing the past. Was it beneficial? Yeah. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I'm not going to say, but I totally see your point where we're dealing with the now. That's why it's the now, taking care of it, getting rid of any negative energy, putting the positive, reprogramming yourself with the good stuff now.
Yeah. And that's the one thing, the subconscious mind cannot. Everything is happening now. So why not put the information energy you want in now? Transform. If you bring up the past, your subconscious mind's like, oh, okay, that's what we want to focus on. So
yeah, and that's what you're going to focus on that.
You're going to get that. So you're going to do the same thing. You get the same results. That's why people think I do the same thing, get the same results.
Interesting. Yeah, powerful stuff. And it's again, I equate this to a type of hypnotherapy, but better. It's like hypnotherapy on steroids, where we're getting right to what we need to do. As opposed to, listen, if you get hypnotized and go back to your past, it can be painful sometimes.
Yes.
You want to do that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting. And this is originated in Germany, I believe you said, right?
Yes, by Daniel Weinstock. He's a German. He actually lives in France now, but that's originally where he's from. And if we had a little bit of time, I actually do want to cover not so much on Daniel per se, but another reason why change doesn't work for people. I don't really talk about stuff that doesn't work, but I want to cover this, is that we're all running on scripts. And a script is a program that you run by. So unless you change that script, you're going to keep living that out over and over again. So that's why it's so important to get that information in there. So you change that script, and now your subconscious mind, your entire being says, okay, now we know what to focus on. Your subconscious mind works with the universal mind. And so that when you change that script, you change your identity. And once you have that identity, your change happens.
Yeah. And to your point is your script was written potentially when you were a kid.
Yes, it definitely was. Between 0 to 7 is because when we're born, we're one with everything. We're just like, oh, here we are. And then like we're 2 years old, we realize, oh, there's these giants around us. They're the ones taking care of me. So I got to transform to what they want me to be, or what I think they want me to be, to survive.
Right. And that's, I'm a parent, am I doing the right thing? Was I doing the right thing when my kids were 0 to 7? I don't know, because I didn't know. So I didn't think about it back then.
Right.
And our parents, and the generation before that wasn't thinking about that. So they're kind of helping you write the script for your life back then. Maybe it wasn't the right script,
Yeah, absolutely. And why do you have to still live by that? If it's something but now you can change the script. You're an adult.
Interesting. Wow. Instant change method. Learn more, icmrightnow.com. Michael Danielson, always fascinating to learn about this. And it makes a lot of sense in my world, having done hypnotherapy, energy healing. I've done those things and they were okay. This is very different. This is very different, people. Yeah. All right, Michael, I appreciate it. We'll catch up again next time.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.